even as a lifelong horror fan, I don't know where to start when it comes to measuring the impact of Stephen King. For someone that is so mentioned, the man who has had the horror genre in a headlock for the last 6 decades. You heard that correctly. 6 decades in which he's given us over 70 books, which have led to over 70 film adaptations of his writings. I mean, there are countless books and podcasts that exist for the sole premise of analyzing his work. And yet, even after all that, I think he's underrated. This isn't me gushing or pandering over King. Living or dead, I want you to name me an author who has impacted the world like he has. I mean, how many childhoods has this guy impacted? From Pennywise the Clown, Zelda and Pet Sematary, Children of the Corn, Misery. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg for King. He's bigger than horror. His storytelling and character-building abilities have launched him outside of the horror landscape a few times, and he's made some big waves with everyday audiences with his adaptations of The Green Mile and Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. The movie we're covering today is another one of his applauded adaptations that isn't deemed a true horror. That film is none other than Rob Reiner's 1986 classic, Stand By Me. A tale of a group of 12-year-old boys who go out searching for the body of a boy in the woods along the railroad tracks where he supposedly had gotten hit by a train. Laughter, suspense, tears. This flick brings it all out. A story so rich it should be served with a glass of milk. I can't contain my level of excitement for this one. Boys and girls, without any further introduction, here is our take on Stand By Me. Boom. Welcome back to the Sloppy Horror Podcast. This is a brand new season, folks. Welcome to this season. You want to know what this season's called? The Slutty Sloppy Summer Season. That's what this is called, because we're picking some dirty fucking movies to get you through the hot days of summer. I can't even contain my excitement. You remember what our last summer season was called, Mark?
I'm still trying to remember what you just called this season. What did you say it's called?
Slutty Sloppy Summer Season.
That's a lot of S's. Try and say it 5 times fast.
I can't.
Do it. Come on.
Sloppy Slutty Summer Season?
That's not fast, though. You gotta do it faster. You gotta say it 5 times fast.
Sloppy Slutty Summer Season. Sloppy Slutty Summer Season. Sloppy Slutty Summer Season. Sloppy Slutty Summer Season. Sloppy Slutty Summer Season.
Damn, that's a lot of in there, but it's good.
Do you remember what last season was called?
The Ozark season.
No, the last summer season.
Oh, the last summer season? Summer of Horrors, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was thinking about doing that, part 2.
Nah,
but
the sloppy summer slutty season or whatever you just called it. What is it?
Sloppy, slutty.
No, you said slutty sloppy before.
Yeah.
You don't even know what it's called.
Look,
Did you just make this up?
No.
Did you write this down?
No, I just switched it up because I said it 5 times in a row.
You should really start writing your
Slutty, sloppy, summer season.
I think you should put sloppy first. The sloppy, slutty summer season.
Okay.
I think that rolls off the tongue a little bit better.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Maybe that's what happened.
Thank you.
I'm rusty.
Well,
I'm rusty.
This is exciting.
I'm rusty.
I'm glad we got all that cleared away. Hello. Welcome back to the slutty, sloppy summer season. The first one of its kind.
Wet t-shirt contest, first episode.
Oh,
We
shit.
both got black t-shirts on.
It's not going to work very well.
I know. And it's kind of hot.
Unless it's cold water.
Yeah. But
So you can find the nipple. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked here.
I'm dying. I don't know if I'll make it.
Well, we're off to a great start. Everybody, welcome back. Summer is here. It's hot as balls.
It is warm.
My balls are to my knees. What does that mean? That means we're talking about summer fucking movies.
That's like how you
of
age.
The horror genre.
That's how you age a man. It's like the rings on a tree. You go down his thigh and see how long they're down there, and that's how old he is.
I want to get a tattoo every year of the age of where my balls hang.
Yeah.
Just watch it go down.
Yeah.
You know how people do the thing on the wall where they measure your height every year.
Look, these are how tall my kids were over the years.
Yeah, and then you open up the thigh. What are all those lines on your leg? Well, that's how low my balls hang this year.
I like that idea.
Another year, another inch.
I like that.
An inch is a long way.
Mark, I gotta ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not fucking around. I'm sorry for the cuss words. I'm a little excited, but I'm not messing around this season, okay? I wanted to pick some movies that were... I didn't want to be coy. I wanted to pick some big movies, and we're starting off big here. And the movie we're starting with is Rob Reiner's rendition of Stephen King's short novella, The Body. The movie is called Stand By Me. All right, this is a classic. This isn't even like all the way a horror movie, but it's written by the King himself. So I don't give a shit if it's horror or not. We're talking about it. It's such a great movie. Mark, have you ever seen this movie before? I won't judge you if you have not.
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of excited now to hear, your take of it, because sometimes when you tell somebody to watch an old movie, it's almost like that wrestling theory where it's like, if you didn't watch it when you were younger, you're probably not going to get it or like it when you're older. It's just going to look weird to you. But sometimes you can. But this is one of those flicks that I feel like is timeless. 4th of July weekend, I hope everybody, or 4th of July holiday, hope everybody had fun. Obviously, I watched Jaws. It's a movie that came out, in 75? Movie's still so watchable. And there are movies that you can watch from the 90s that are impossible to watch because they feel so aged. But Jaws came out in 75. Rocky, certain movies like that. I really feel like Stand By Me fits in that category. I don't care how old you are. This is a coming-of-age movie. My son is 12 years old, so I really have a fun perspective of this, to really put in perspective of this movie. I don't know. I'm really excited. Can you give me some initial thoughts? What did you think here? Did you love, hate it?
Well, it's a good movie, man. It's a good movie. Definitely fits the narrative of a Stephen King story. It's got that same kind of ordeal to it, if you get what I'm saying. It's a nice...
Feels like a book.
Yeah, it's a nice Sunday movie, Put it on there, you relax. Very relatable, especially if you were, as a man, you know what I mean? Everybody was a kid like that. Mm-hmm. Even though this takes place in the 50s or something, right?
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that helps with it being timeless too, because it takes place in a later time.
Great music as well.
Of course, That's always good though. I like those old movies where they take place in the 50s and they play radio noises and music over the back of it. But every kid growing up had a group of friends just like this. You had a treehouse or a fort or some place where you went and hung out, you smoked cigarettes.
And
a lot of people
honestly,
had this experience.
I don't mean to cut you off, but honestly, kids, for real, but this is more, I think this is more aimed towards boys. I mean, not saying girls can't relate, because girls definitely have friendships, but I would say to be 12 and to be a boy, to be tough and scared and, all at the same time. I don't know. It's just you want to know what it's like to be 12 years old and be a boy. This movie is pretty up there.
Pretty much pretty much nails the head.
Yeah.
Dead on. And, it makes you miss your childhood moments, because back when you were a child, no technology really. You just went and did something. You just went on a little adventure. Half the time, you just get your bikes and you just fucking rode your bike somewhere random for miles.
You just lied about where you went.
Yeah, everybody lies about where they went.
And your parents
done
didn't
that.
even care. It's
No.
just be back. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Work it out amongst yourselves. Yeah, that's so funny. I've heard many different theories on this movie, and I guess we should give a synopsis for the folks, because maybe not everybody's heard this movie, and I don't want to jump too deep in without doing that. But I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you first.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh my God.
Buckle in. You're about to get some information.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Degeneration X. But what I can tell you is Sloppy Horror Podcast is a show that you are going to get through this whole hour. I promise you, this whole hour with 0 advertisements. I swear.
Zilch.
I'm not going to sell you any kind of weird stuff. No food that shows up to your door. Nothing to shave your body.
No meat in a box.
No therapist. Yeah, none of that kind of weird shit. You know, I'm not knocking the hustle, but for here, I love horror movies so much. Unless it's really in that realm, I'm not messing with it. So, and we don't like to break up the show. We don't want you to have to skip through 30 seconds. We don't want all that. We want you to enjoy the whole hour. So if you enjoy all that and you're looking for a fun way to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/sloppyhorror. There, you could sign up for as cheap as $3 a month. We put a whole bunch of bonus episodes up there. And as we said at the end of last season, we're going to start to do commentaries on movies. And we're going to have one up there very shortly. You guys should enjoy that. It'd be a lot of fun. You guys can play at home. Obviously, you can watch along, throw the movie on. That's what we like. I mean, that's what this show's all about, watching movies together and talking about them. Now, if that's not your bag, you're like, look, dog, I don't want to listen to your bonus episodes. Well, maybe you would like to rock a t-shirt. Maybe you'd like to buy a hoodie. Maybe a little coffee mug when you're at work to say, look, I'm a sloppy whore, just like my friends. You can find some of the merchandise that Ozark Mark has created in the link down in the description of the video and or, audio. Depends where you're listening. But we thank you all. And everybody on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribing, liking the videos. Let us know where you're from, okay? And if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that deal, please rate the show. It's really easy to do. And with that being said, those are all of our preliminaries, okay? If you skip through them, I'm not even mad. But that's all I got for you. But what we need to do is talk about Stand By Me and let the folks know what it's all about, okay? So here's what we have. We have a case of 4 boys, and they're 12, okay? Our main character, we have Gordy, okay? And he's friends with a boy named Vern, a boy named Teddy, and a boy named Chris, okay? And this is in the 50s, like we alluded to before. And what happens is Vern, he gets wind from, because all these kids' older brothers, they're like dime store hoods, like, picture the cigarettes rolled up in the sleeves, like the greasers from The Outsiders. That's what these guys are, okay? And we've got Kiefer Sutherland in this, crushing it as like a one of these bad guys. Well, Vern is a younger brother to one of these older bad teenagers, and he hears that they found a body. They were stealing a car, and while they were out there, they saw a body that was hit from a young boy off the train tracks. And they didn't report it because they didn't want, the police to catch wind that they stole the car out there. But Vern heard it, so he went back to his group of 12-year-old friends and said, look, guys, you want to go find a body? You want to go see a dead body? And almost some Boys in the Hood shit, looked like Freddy Krueger got him, man. Give my brother his ball back. That's also a good movie. But what they do is they end up walking the train tracks for like a day or so, and they walk a long fucking time, like 20-something miles, I think. And they get out there, and they find this boy. And once they get out there, the older kids come out there too. There's a little bit of a skirmish, but long story short, they report the body, and they get it found. But throughout this trip, these boys find themselves, and, they just... I tell you, and I'm not a big fan of shouting out any other kind of shows or anything like that, but I did listen to an episode of the King Cast. That's a good show, Stephen King podcast. I listened to one of their episodes about this because they'll do multiple episodes about shows or movies, and there was a couple of theories that they presented forward that and I don't know if they invented them or whatever, but that's just where I heard it, so I pay credit where it's due. But each of these boys all have a fucked up relationship with their dad and their parents, so to speak, or lack thereof. So it's like, that's kind of an element too, like outgrowing your father's demons. And that's like always kind of a theme of Stephen King. Like if you think about like The Shining and Danny and fucking Jack, and there's just always that element of like either addiction or just outgrowing your fucking parents' shit. But the coolest thing that I heard was every boy or man, but like every boy when you're 12 years old was one of those 4 boys. You've got Vern, who's kind of the scaredy cat nerd, chubby kid. You've got Gordy, who's also kind of a nerd, kind of like a Leonardo, if you will, like a silent main character. You got Chris, kind of the kid everybody wants to be, but like kind of like a badass, but he comes from a broken home. And then you got Teddy, who's fucking just crazy. But every kid was one of these people. Ozark, who do you think you would have been?
I have no idea.
I'm trying to think. I'm gonna think of who you are, and you think of who I was.
Okay.
All right.
Say you would be Teddy.
The crazy one?
Yeah.
You think I'm crazy?
Yeah.
Or I was crazy, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, I'll take that.
I think so.
I would think that you and I would have more of like the Chris and the Gordy thing going on, and it could go either way. I see that in both of us.
Yeah, I was afraid they were going to make out at some point.
Yeah.
It kind of got a little bit,
But they're boys. You remember, like, when you're upset when you're 12, you would cry. Like, your mom would be like, yeah, your friend can't come over. And you're like, like, you freak out. Like,
Yeah, but they just got, like, a little... They start giving... Like, all right, so... You know the thing in movies where if 2 people just look at each other in a certain way, like, you know what I mean, they're going to eventually, like, bang and shit. Like, it's so easily... You know, it's in every fucking movie. And, like, they kind of, like, did that with them, too. Mm-hmm. So...
I think you and I kind of have Chris vibes going on because, we were kind of cool. But
That was not cool at all.
I don't know, but I could see Gordy, too, though, because you're a man of morals. Because you're a... I swear, man, like, if y'all might not know Ozark Mark for real, but if you meet him in real life, if he tells you something, you could take that shit to the bank. Like, or he will be a lot of communication on why said thing won't happen. Because he is, so I could see that as well. But Teddy, I'll take the crazy one, too. I like that. You know what? I was a little crazier when I was younger. I'm a little bit more settled down now that I'm older.
Right. Right.
I don't think we're Vern now. But I like Vern.
No, everybody knows of Vern, though.
Yeah, Vern's cool, though. Vern's a trustworthy friend. If Vern will listen to your problems.
Mm-hmm. He'll be there for you.
For sure, dude. For sure. I like Vern. Now, we got all that out the way. Look, there's a lot of parts in this movie, and I'm sure it's fresh on your brain. When did you watch this? Today? Yesterday. Okay, so it's still probably fresh in your brain. Do you have a favorite part? What made you laugh the hardest, or what'd you enjoy?
Well, my favorite part is the bridge. When the train comes. Yeah, it's an intense part.
Move your ass, man!
we're gonna fucking die.
Dude, he crushed that part.
He did. It's an intense part, man. But I always just like the scenes when they're smoking cigarettes because it's just little kids smoking cigarettes. It's just funny.
And we did the same goddamn thing, dude.
And you could tell which one of them actually smoked a cigarette before versus the ones that didn't.
Uh-huh.
Like, Corey Feldman was fucking puffing it and inhaling and doing all that shit. Fucking Chris was just puffing and moving. Vern even was hitting it like a champ. But those parts always... that cracked me up a bit.
So, I don't know if I have a favorite part. I can say things, though, that obviously certain things, your brain just connects to movies. Like, we always talk about this, but you pull on the highway and there's a log truck in front of you. You're going to think of Final Destination. I'm not saying even you wouldn't drive behind it, but you're going to fucking think of that movie. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. You will. You see a giant slab of meat, you're going to think of Rocky. Like, I don't give a shit what, like, that there's just certain...
That's true.
There's just certain things. But for me, in this movie, it's leeches. When I was a kid, when I would think of leeches, I always thought of this movie. And
Yeah, that was a fucking fucked up part.
I know, dude. Like,
Fucking Gordy just, you know what I mean? They got leeches all over him. So, first they discover a leech on his neck, on Vern's neck. So leeches. So they all start undressing and doing all that, you know, getting all the leeches off, which is a very fucking scary thing if you're covered in leeches, right?
for sure, dude.
I've never been covered in leeches, but I'm assuming like I would probably freak out and try to get all of them. I equivalate that to ticks when I was a kid. I fucking hated ticks. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would always check for ticks and all that shit, but dude, did they have to do Gordy like that? Did they have to put a leech on the kid's balls? Oh. Oh my goodness.
That's such a Stephen King element, you know? And, you know, we'll get into the superstar cast, but let's start with Rob Reiner. People, you know, I mean, regardless of what people think of him as a person, he also did Misery, okay? So you can definitely pick up that vibe. I think he's did some of the most beautiful and real to the book adaptations of Stephen King. And you would probably recognize him as the person. He also directed Spinal Tap, but he was the guy talking to, dude, he's like, well, why don't you just make the highest number 10? Oscar to 11. He was the guy talking to him. Like, He's like, oh, I see this guitar. Don't touch it. I wasn't touching it. I was just pointing at it. Don't even point at it. Yeah, that guy. So, great director. I watched this recently. I didn't watch this last night or two because I just watched this like a week ago with my kids, and my son's at that age, and I just think it's important. I watched it at that age. I love the rich story element of it. I like that Stephen King always has to incorporate one of his characters as a writer.
Right.
It just always works that way. Mm-hmm. And I like Gordy's stories even, like, because that's obviously another Stephen King story within a story. So it's a short story within a short story. So I like the blueberry pie scene, the fucking everybody throws up. That's hilarious. Who doesn't like that? That's funny.
Dude, I don't know about you, man, but being a gun owner, a scene where they're camping out and they keep watch because they hear howling and wolves and stuff, so they make somebody keep watching. All those kids with that damn gun, dude, just made me fucking nervous.
Yeah.
It's like, get your finger off of the trigger. Like, stop it. Vern cracked me up the most. Vern was like, he just hear how
the whole movie
each way.
cracked me up, bro. Like, when he was on the bridge climbing on his hands and knees, he's like, I dropped the comb. Forget it, Vern.
That's such an argument too. Like, when they're on the train tracks and they think about food. Of course, nobody brought food. But Vern's like, why didn't you bring food, Vern? You're the one that thought of it. Well, I brought the comb.
Yeah.
It was important.
I also, a very funny scene was, because along this trip, they had to essentially cut through a junkyard and hop over the fence. And, like, there's a town legend that this junkyard has a dog, and the guy will come out saying, Chopper. That's the dog's name. Chopper, sick balls. And that means, go attack the kids. So they're going through, and, they hang out, and they kind of essentially break in there, and they're hanging out. And Gordy walks to get food, and when he comes back, this dog fucking chases after him, and he just says, Chopper, sick him. And dude was like, now he said Chopper, sick him, but what I heard was, Chopper, sick balls. And it goes the kid, he's just, and all of his friends are like, come on, man, come on, man. Those intense moments, like, where you're, like, running from an authority figure, like, cutting through somebody's yard.
Everybody's done that, dude. Everybody's ran from something as a kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then it was just the junkyard guy was just talking shit. I know all you little kids. I know your parents. Like, all your fathers are gonna get a phone call from me, except for the loony.
Man, there was one time I remember as a kid around that age where there's a church up the street from where I lived, and we always used to go up there, fuck around, smoke cigarettes, hang out on the playground, jump on, do everything at the church, which is weird, but we did it. So there was one time, and there was a porta potty there. Now, there was a porta potty there for, like, ever. It was there for, like, weeks and weeks. So one member out of our usual group was there with us, and we called him Fat Matt. Fucking. Someone told him to tip the porta potty over. All right, so he tips the porta potty over. As soon as it's tipping, some guy comes out of the church, starts yelling at us, and like, "You goddamn kids, get back here, dude!" And we just started booking it. Just started booking it like, ah! Most of us got away. Fat Matt did not. So he had the he caught up with us later. He's like, dude, the motherfucker made me put it back up and everything. There was shit everywhere.
Oh no!
And I knew for a fact, dude, like I was a fast motherfucker too. I was gone, dude. I started booking it as soon as I saw that thing tip over. I don't remember seeing it tip over. I just remember hearing the plunk and the yelling. I got out of there.
I had a similar story. We tipped one at Coluga Park, and this kid Matt lived back through the woods there, so like we just ran through. Like it's like we saw the headlights coming through. We were just like. And he was big, but he made it. You know, some of them big guys, they get quick with like offensive lineman speed. When they start to take off, it's like big old dinosaur steps. They're like,
well, that when you're young and plus adrenaline. So when you're young, you can run forever. Then you got adrenaline, dude. You could run forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bro. That's some funny times, and I think this movie captures that perfectly. The way they talk, because they cuss, but they're not great at it yet, so they just say funny things. And then the older guys, the bad guys. I mean, well, let's lay out the kids. So we got Chris Chambers, who's played by River Phoenix. Rest in peace. Great actor. You know, I hate to be cliche, but I mean, this is one of his best movies. I mean, he really does great movie with this is one of his best. And you got Will Wheaton. He played Gordy. Great actor. Loved him. Loved him in Toy Soldiers. Did a little fucking Star Trek. Then you got fucking Jerry O'Connell as Vern, who grew up to be fucking supermodel handsome and chiseled. Threw everybody off. Fucking Scream 2. You know, he was in there. He's in a lot of shit. And then obviously Corey Feldman. His fucking crazy Teddy Duchance. So that's a superstar cast. And then you work your way up. You got like fucking Kiefer Sutherland as one of the bad guys. I forget old boy's name. The dude that was Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He was the one that he was the puppet.
Mm-hmm.
He got carved. He's in it. He had a very funny line where he's like, "You cock knocker." Bro, I lost it. I cannot.
Man, I wish I want to play mailbox baseball.
I know. We would have been reckless in that time frame. Because, like, we weren't good. Like, I mean, obviously, Ozark and I are, like, older and settled now. We are very respectful. We're men of our word. But, like, age 17 through 24, like...
Oh, dude, in the 50s in a small town, oh, man, you do whatever you want.
We would have been fucking horrible. We would have been robbing stores, and, like, we would have just been fucking... I'm thankful we grew up when we did, man. We needed to be checked.
Yeah.
You know, we would have been robbing folks. We would have had a cool little gang, an outfit. We would have carved razors into our arms, you know, had cigs rolled up in them. And back in that day, we would have never stopped smoking cigs. We'd still be smoking them.
Nah, sometimes I wish I could go back and live in the 50s, but make the same wage I make now. Oh, dude, you'd be rich like a motherfucker.
Yeah, and then we'll Back to the Future that shit. Go back with the sports almanac.
I want to do that so bad.
I know. Hey, you know, speaking of Stephen King, he did a real cool one, 11/22/63. It's essentially about this time machine where this dude's trying to go back, gets convinced to go back to stop JFK's assassination, but like every time he steps into the motherfucker, I'm sorry for cussing. I'm sorry for your ears. But every time he steps into it, it's 1958, right? Every time. It's the same time he steps into the same world in 1958. But when he comes back, no matter how long he stays there, it's only been 2 minutes of this time. So he could just go back and chill in 1958. Like, I'm going to go watch a movie, get a burger and a shake. Like, you know how good a 50s shake would be? A 50s cigarette with some 50s shake and a big-ass burger, bro.
For like 25 cents.
Bro, like you just come back with some old money. You just cash in like $5,000 and you just go back and get reckless with it. Like, you could just be fucking flaunting. Like, you can go out with 50 and singles. Like, what's up, sluts? Like, what's up? Here's my wad of hundreds.
Mess around. Mess around and buy a house.
Oh, bro.
For no reason.
I mean, That was the funniest part. Even like when we watched Amityville Horror last season, you know, it was the 70s. And she was like, yeah, but it's 80 grand. It's like a 4-bedroom house on fucking Amity, like fucking Staten Island for 80 grand. Fuck off, bro. You know what that is now? That house is probably $5 million.
Dude, I would buy a warehouse and just buy cars and then put them in there.
Yeah, and then just go back in time.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'd have all your shit.
Yeah, and then I'd come back in time this time and I'd sell those vintage cars.
Mm-hmm.
Bang. What's a car? Like $1,000?
Yeah.
New car, $1,000? I don't know.
What are you gonna do?
This is all pure fantasy, though.
Look, I love the believability of this story. Like we said, it's timeless. It's classic. It's something that everybody can relate to. And I'm happy that, I'm kind of happy you didn't see it. Like, this is, you know, one you can throw in your repertoire. It's one that you can watch from now on.
Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't, but I'm not a movie buff, as I established earlier when we started this podcast. I'm not a horror nerd. I'm not a movie buff.
I remember I have family up in Pittsburgh, and like when I was like 11 through 13, I would go up there for like 2 weeks every summer. Okay. And I was like sitting on her couch late night. My aunt came out, like, what are you watching? I was like, I don't know, I'm trying to find something. And I flipped by and this movie was on. And, you know, I was like right at the same age. And she was like, or like 12, you know. And she was like, oh, this is a good movie. Watch this one. And like, she was kind of cool. She like told me to watch Goodfellas and shit. Like, there was like random movies at like a young age and shit. Like, yeah, this is good. And like, usually old people are like, don't watch that. Here's Pocahontas. And you're like, fuck off, dude. I don't want to watch Pocahontas.
Nah, man, everybody, you know, it's a simple story, but, you know, it's a good story. And I mean, good stories are timeless.
Mm-hmm. But I remember the first place I was when I watched this. I was in Pittsburgh. I was watching it, and that was that. I was standing by me.
Well, that's good.
Stand by me.
But not too close.
Yeah.
Because there's germs out there.
Yeah, 6 feet. You can't be getting all up in my way. Now, I must say, these old thugs, though, they were a little reckless because they were holding up these kids at knife point.
Yeah, but they came out with a gat, like, boom.
Yeah.
Showed them what's what. But they didn't forget. But that was an intense, pretty good showdown there.
Yep.
Over a dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Which is an odd thing to fight over, but what are you going to do?
And what's really fucking sad, is like, I mean, it fucks me up because there's a fly in here and it's pissing me off. All right, what's really sad is like, and kind of bittersweet. So at the end of it, like we just said at the beginning, it's a story about like having fucked up dads and like overcoming that, you know, because Gordy had a dad, but he was a piece of shit essentially. Like he ignored him. So Gordy is an older dude. He was a writer, right? And you know, he's narrating the movie the whole time, but like at the end, he's in his office, right? He's writing his thing. And what's he end up doing at the end of the movie? As the credits start rolling, he goes outside and plays with his kids. You know what I mean? So it ends on like on a good note. You know what I'm saying? Like you're like better than who your father was. So that's kind of good. But like when he's writing it and he says like, you never have friends like you do when you're 12 years old. And it's like, fuck, bro, don't like hit me like that. That's some shit. You just hit me with this amazing movie of like what young, like I'm already thinking this in the back of my head. And then like you just hit me with that fucking like nail in the coffin. Just like, and you're like, damn, bro, like you're so right. Like just that realness of like, you remember how excited you were? Like if your mom was like, yeah, your friends can come over at 12. You were just like, gas, dog. Like you were so, the amount of serotonin your body would produce. Like when your friends were about to come over and you were just like, you get some Code Red, maybe a video game, watch some wrestling, dog, a pay-per-view or some shit. Boy, like that, it was.
Yep, those were the good old days.
Mark,
before women came in and fucked up your lives.
Yep. Mark, I could hit you up right now and be like, dude, I've got pizza, I've got wings, I've got hoagies, I've actually got Gold Bar sitting out on my, you can come get a Gold Bar if you want, and there's girls over here, naked, they're big fans of you, I want you to come over. You'd be like, what time? What do you, I don't know, how late are you planning on going? I don't know. I'll see if I can make it. You know, the older you get, you just like, I mean, you work yourself up and you end up having fun, but like as you get older, like you have to convince yourself to do stuff, and then once you get out and you get a little buzz, you're like, man, I'm happy I did this. I'm glad that I did. And it's not always. You won't have that always. There might have nights where you're like, I want to go home.
Right.
I just want to go home. But you'll have those every once in a while where a friend convinces you out, and then you get some, you know, your cheeks feel warm, and you're like, you know what? Thanks, man. Thanks for bringing me out. I appreciate this evening. But when you're 12, you just, let's party tonight.
That's your world, man.
Let's party tonight.
That's your world, back in a simpler time.
But it's kind of sad that like Chris dies like as he in the story as he got older, and then obviously River Phoenix died. So it's like just like a weird premonition.
Yeah, the universe is kind of weird sometimes.
Because he died in a bar.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously that's you know, I don't know what you do or don't know, but like, you know, the Joker, Walking Phoenix, or, you know, Walking Phoenix, or however you say his name, that's his younger brother. So that's Chris's younger brother in real life. So, and what's really sweet is he named his son River. And I was like, that's cool, man.
That's a good.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes your heart happy. That makes me feel better about the ending of this fucking movie. You know, because it is very bittersweet, dude. You know, Sandlot ends in a way where you're like, oh, cool, everybody's got like a little ending, except for that one boy in Sandlot. They're like, Bertram or whatever his name was, he's like, he got really into the 60s and nobody ever saw him again. You're like, don't tell me that.
Yeah, that's just...
Don't fucking tell me that. Like, I don't want to hear that, because I'm actually going to think about that. Good stuff.
Well, let's not think about it. Why don't we get a little bit of education here and find out more things about this movie, Stand By Me? How we doing?
Hey, how are you?
This is welcome to the What Do You Know here. This is a segment of the show where we're here to tell you something that you may or may not know about this movie. Now, if this is your first time here, this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna tell you things we know about this movie. Now, you may know what we know, but you may not know what we know. But if you know what we know, you're gonna have what they call down there on the south side is a we know gasm. Okay, it's going to flood your brain with a bunch of chemicals that's going to make your fun parts all tingly. Now, if you don't know what we know, you're about to find out what we know, and then you're going to have you're going to need to sit down after, because it's just going to be, you know, an explosion of pleasure.
Blow your fucking O-rings out.
Exactly. So, why don't you tell me something that you may or may not know about this movie, Stand By Me?
The little chunky boy.
The chunkster?
Vern.
Yeah.
Played by the great actor Jerry O'Connell. You know, if he was chunky now, I'd feel bad saying it, but he's like a supermodel now, you know. I don't care. I can call him the chunky little boy.
Whatever, good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
He ate less and moved more. Good for him.
Good for him. Exactly. He did what he was supposed to. As a little boy, when he was on this set, you know what he did?
He ate a bunch of candy.
Well, you're close to something there.
Okay.
He tied up his babysitter that was watching him at the set. Okay, I guess the babysitter passed out, and he like tied her up, and he snuck off to the little local fair that was going on, and he bought some cookies. Okay, and he ate these cookies, but these weren't normal cookies. These were edible cookies. And this little boy, they found him in the fucking woods, high as fuck, and it shut down production for 2 days because he was so fucking high. He ate some edibles.
No, fuck. What?
Yes, this is a real story. Keith Sutherland, he said about the story on Jimmy Kimmel. He told about it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so, you know, there's a
tied up the babysitter. That's just so many elements to that story.
That's a lot of fun there.
That's crazy.
What do you know about this movie?
Who sells a kid edibles?
I would.
I know. You know, the guy who sold him the cookies is like, I wonder what happened to that kid. If he's still alive, he's probably like, I did that. Anyways, yeah, I got a little fact about this movie. Now, there's an infamous scene in this movie where they're walking through the forest and there's a little water, there's a little lake, a little,
With the leeches.
Yeah, the part with the leeches where, he gets his balls bit, not in a good way. Not in a good way. It's a sensitive area down there, you gotta be nice.
Leeches on your frankenbeans.
Yeah. That's probably good luck or something. But anyways.
Sucking
Kind
you
of
off
like when
down there.
kind of like when a bird poops on you. It's good luck. I think people just say that so you feel better about yourself. Anyways.
You've been sucked off by an insect?
Okay, anyways. What I was saying was that there's that pool there. Now that little lake there, that little pond as you call it, that was man-made. That wasn't there before. They made that. They made it as a man-made pool that they shot that at.
Oh.
Now eventually they just left it there and it became an ecosystem. It became an actual pond. There's probably fish and frogs and tadpoles in there.
Skaters.
I don't know if there's leeches in there, but I want to jump in there.
No, I'm not going in there.
No.
Yeah, put a scene.
But now you know.
Yeah.
The things you do for a movie.
These are good facts.
That's a lot of digging.
Yeah.
They probably digged it by hand, hopefully. Hopefully not. That's a lot of digging.
Got that little boy from Frailty. He came out there, he dug the hole.
He'd probably be really good at it, too. Mm-hmm. I like what you did there. That was a little comeback.
Yeah.
Comeback of a previous thing that we talked about.
Yeah.
That's what you do here. That's what you do here.
Back and forth, the seesaw continues.
Well, there you go. Hey, you learn some facts. Some kid got high off some cookies, tied up his babysitter. They made a man-made pool. People are getting sucked off by insects. What more do you need?
These are facts about this movie you may have not known.
Exactly.
But if you did know, or did not know, regardless, you're still having a ween-orgasm.
Exactly. So there you go. So now you know. Everybody knows. Now we gotta go.
Mark?
Well, that was very
Mark.
informative. Thank you.
Out of all of this whole movie, mainly males, if you really think about it, not many.
Yeah, not many dames or skirts, broads. It's a bunch of dudes.
Who's your favorite character out of this whole movie?
Probably Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland is Ace? Yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's a cool little bad guy. Like when, he's always, and, he looks so much like the guy from The Lost Boys, his character he played in The Lost Boys. I feel like this is who he was before he became a vampire.
Oh, David before he became a vampire.
Yeah, because he looks the same. His hair just grew a little bit longer.
I like that theory.
Yeah. He got bit by a vampire in the 50s, and that's how he became a vampire. Then you fast forward to the 80s, and now he's a dirt bike riding vampire, feeding people maggots and calling Michael.
Michael.
I'd say him, yeah. I like his acting. I like him. He's a good character.
Yeah.
What about you?
Chris is a pretty cool character, but I don't know, man. Probably Chris. Probably Chris, because he's like always got his friends back, and I like that aspect about him. They're all good friends, but like he's I like friends that check in with people, and he was one of those friends. I like that about him.
Yeah, he was a protector. Protected Teddy from getting off the train tracks in time when he was trying to dodge a train.
Yeah, it made Gordy feel good. And Gordy's older brother died in the movie, who was played by John Cusack. And then his dad was the fucking, the gym coach from Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Like, I forget that guy's name. He plays an awesome asshole.
Yeah, you definitely tell a guy's an asshole.
He's probably super nice in real life. Like,
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it whatsoever.
he's probably like the nice. You guys hungry? Yeah, no, I'll stay. Don't worry about it. Got an extra room. Yeah. Thanks, dude. Don't kill us in our sleep. But so it's just kind of littered with familiar faces, great music from the 50s. A little lollipop, lollipop. Oh,
Dude, that song still hits
lollipop.
today. To this day. Lollipop, lollipop, lollipop. You know, a bunch of guys got their Cuban wax to that song in that time.
Oh, bro, we would have been laying it down back then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We would have had a little group, bro. We would have been around a little barrel.
Seems so fun, man, just rolling around in the old fucking car, drinking beers.
Selling cigarettes and stuff, fighting people, stealing hubcaps. I think these are all things that we could do.
100%.
So if we went in a time machine, dime store hood would be at the top of our list.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you talking about? You know, we'd walk up to people like that. Fuck's the matter with this guy? Hey, what are you, some kind of fucking Mary?
I love 50s lingo. Some of the best.
Hey there, pussycat. You know, you could just talk to women reckless.
Yep.
I'm gonna take you home and you're gonna make all the dinner for the rest of my life. And she'd be like, I am. Say it now, you're gonna get fucking maced.
Yeah. Yep. We were born a little bit late before we were on top of the social chain.
You could bake pies once a week or I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Doesn't go over now.
Nope.
His dad was a dick, too. He's talking to his brother about his big game, and the mom's come over. It's like, what about that one girl? She seems nice. There you go. You're talking about girls. Girls should be the last thing on his mind. This kid's got the biggest game of his life.
Look what you're doing to this boy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that one, when they shot the gun, when Chris showed Gordy that they had the gun, I thought that was funny that it fired, and that lady came out of the restaurant like, hey, who's shooting cherry bombs off out here? Just like,
that's always a fun game to play nowadays. Is it a firework or a gunshot?
this fucking fly.
Leave the fly alone.
I guess he's just a part of the episode.
Yes, he is.
He's just a part of the
It's
episode.
15 minutes of fame for this fly.
I guess for the dog, too, showing up per usual at the end of the episode.
It wouldn't be a good episode without the dog.
Chopper, sick balls. The junkyard guy was funny. I even liked the guy that worked at the little store. He was like, what was this brother's name? He's like, you such and such LaChance's little brother?
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool. He was a good football player.
You play football? So, well, what do you do?
I want to go back to one of those stores and just get some lunch meat and some cigs
Oh,
and
dude,
a
it'd be
Coke.
fresh as hell.
Dude, it would be so good.
Oh, no.
I want some of that shit.
That's back when quality mattered.
Right?
Before capitalism became a thing that it is today.
You'd be fucking them up because it'd be like under $2 and you'd be like, keep the change. And they'd be like, holy shit.
You can give them a 10. Like, here, this is what it cost back in my time. I mean, have a good day.
Take this. Have fun.
Take this and enjoy it.
Yeah, dude, you could go back and even be like a charity giver. Go back to people who were having tough times in Christmas, like good people, and just be like, here's a hundo. And like, it wouldn't mean shit to you.
Dude, you'd be the king of the town. They'd probably elect you mayor.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
Well, that's all good and interesting, but we need to figure out how this movie rates.
Sloppy horror rating, baby, yeah!
Oh, ho there. Where did you come from? I'm glad that you're here, because we're about to rate this movie on the world-famous, one-of-a-kind Sloppy Horror Podcast rating system. Now, this is a system developed by Christian Raimi himself, the horror nerd, your scary movie companion, on what makes a horror movie in the 4 key elements, 4 key categories. It's a series of categories. 3 categories are worth 3 points. Last category is worth 1.48 total love.
10 points altogether.
That's correct. Now, just because it scores low doesn't mean it's a bad movie. Just because it scores high doesn't mean it's a good movie, okay? Just make sure it follows the elements that make up the genre. Now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the first category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is casting.
It's gonna be a 3, my guy.
Obviously.
Gonna be a 3.
That's good. Now we can skip past it because we already explained the superstar cast. We don't need to go over it. So that's 3 out of 10 so far here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the second category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that's kills.
So we don't we always do is see a body of a kid, so there's no kills.
Yep, there's no kills. Unfortunately, that's going to be a 0, but that's
0.
okay. This is not exactly in the horror movie category, so that's
No.
to be expected. But, it is from Stephen King. There are some elements to it. It was a good choice. Anyways, so that's 0 for kills. So it's going on to the third category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating, and that is fear.
I mean, it's not scary at all. But, I mean, maybe we give it a half a point for, like, the train scene, or...
I don't think it's no.
No? 0.
No, it's 0.
Let's give it a 0.
It's 0.
It's not scary.
No, it's not scary.
It's
at all.
wholesome.
Yes. It's a good story. It's a family movie. You can watch this with your family.
You can watch this with your grandpa.
Yeah. You can watch this with your pet cat, your dog.
Whatever you got.
Yeah.
Anything.
Good, there we go. So that's 0 for that. So that's still 3 out of 10 so far here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Let's get into the last category here in the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating for half a point each, and that is rewatchability.
For sure.
Yep. Of course. Yep. Well, this isn't exactly the most ideal movie to put through this rating system, but that's how the show's built. So that is a total of 4 out of 10 for Stand By Me here on the Sloppy Horror Podcast rating. Now, don't let that score fool you.
Oh,
as I said before.
As a movie, it's a 10 out of 10. Like,
Yes.
as a regular movie, it's a 10 out of 10. But as a scary movie, if somebody says, hey, that's Stephen King, is that like a scary kind of movie? Well, it's a 4 out of 10 on a horror movie scale.
There you go. That might be just exactly what you're looking for. That's the point of our system. And here you go. Now you know. We don't have to do my parental guidance either.
Don't tell me.
It's
Don't
an E,
tell me.
It's an E
Don't
for
tell
everyone.
me.
E for everyone movie. We don't have to push the button. We don't need to get the theme song going. It's E for everybody.
Well, I'll stutter start it.
No, it's not happening. I control the shit. You don't understand. Let's pull the curtain back a little bit. There is no button.
There is a button.
There.
It matters. He just doesn't want you to see.
Yeah.
So,
You don't know what's on this table. Okay.
Mark,
Yes.
I think I'm really excited because I know within the next couple days we're going to do a commentary for a movie. What kind of movie are we going to do a commentary for? I don't know, but it's got to be something the folks know, something fun. But I'm really excited for all of this. I want you to be excited for it.
I'm jazzed.
Because honestly, from editing standpoint, probably be pretty straightforward because we don't have to incorporate any audio from the movie. It will be essentially in the background, but that won't be a big deal because somebody else will be listening to the movie as well.
Okay. However it works. Whatever.
We give a little countdown.
Whatever it is, however it works, you know how it works. I know how to make it work the way you want it to work. All you have to do is give me a very brief explanation and I can figure it out because that's what I do.
Yep.
How many times have you give me the broadest description of what you want to happen and I come through?
You make it happen, dog.
Thank you.
Make it happen.
Thank you.
So, as always, guys, we appreciate you guys so much. If you're looking for fun ways to support the show, be sure to check out that Patreon, and the merchandise means the absolute world to us. And then on top of that, you know what else is pretty awesome? What else is pretty awesome?
Air conditioning.
Oh, that is pretty awesome, too.
Yeah, that's the greatest.
Yep, that's great. But on top of that, if you guys are like, I'm not spending $1 on nothing, a really free way to support the show is tell your friends that are into scary movies if you enjoy the show. Make sure that you're liking the videos that you're watching, subscribing to our YouTube, because we're all over the place. We're bigger on TikTok on some degree than we are on YouTube, whatever. We're trying to level it out, get you guys all over. So make sure you guys are helping out. That's absolutely free, and we appreciate you so damn much. So before, we get out of here, Ozark, do you got anything you want to tell the people?
Slutty sloppy summer season is in full effect. I just wanted to say it again because
Sloppy,
it's funny.
slutty summer season.
It's the slutty sloppy summer season.
Slutty, sloppy summer season.
Which one did we agree on before?
Sloppy, slutty, sloppy, slutty. Sloppy, slutty summer season.
All right, all of you listening at home, let's say it together on 3. Let's see what you say. Let's see what I say. All right, 1, 2, 3. The sloppy, slutty summer season. Okay, we said the same thing. I hope you said the same thing as well, so it's official. It's the sloppy, slutty summer
slam
season. No, stop adding S words into it.
Summer slam season.
There's too many S words in there.
That's copyright. We can't do summer slam.
No, but we can. Okay.
Summer slams. Just add a Z.
Just add another S to it. Fuck it. Just keep adding S.
Summer slams.
I want you to say the sloppy, slutty summer season, but put S's on all of them. Put S's on the end of them.
Sloppy, slutty, summers, seasons.
Yeah, just keep putting S's in there.
If you've got a lisp, I'm sorry, but, I want you to try to say this season, all right? And it'll be fun. All right, we're going to bust out some bangers here. Obviously, we started off with a big one, so you guys should be pleased. You should be thrilled. Should be jazzed. So, you guys stay out of trouble. Have some fun this week, and we'll be back next Monday with a new episode.